Good evening. This is Jared with Real Building Blocks, and today we're going to be talking about branding. In fact, it's the overview of branding and what framework we're going to actually utilize in order to properly brand ourselves or our companies. And so that brand work is called StoryBrand, which was created by Donald Miller. StoryBrand is the concept of storytelling and marketing at the same time. And so there's a very simple way to distinguish the difference between marketing and story branding. And that's with the two terms. A good friend of mine, Seth Lewis, called it noise and communication. And basically, the way it breaks down is that noise is anything out there. Everything out there could be noise, but communication is the difference between actually connecting with a person, right? So, you know, talking face to face to somebody is communicating. The train that goes by here in Pennsylvania, the trains that go by, those are noise. And so, whenever you're doing your marketing, your branding, you want to make sure that you don't produce noise and instead produce communication. Um, that was a very good point that Seth made when he presented that concept, and I love it because it perfectly establishes what we're trying to do here with StoryBrand. So, StoryBrand. Well, the question is, what is StoryBrand? StoryBrand is basically a framework that allows you to communicate effectively by telling a story. And when you tell the story, you connect your brand to it by providing the solution. It's actually defined as being a guide to help them see the error of their ways and help them solve their problems. That is essentially what you're doing when you story brand your business, and that's what we're going to be doing. And so, real quick, I'm going to go over the story brand elements, and I'm going to translate them into the items that we're going to be doing. Okay. So, in order to depict this, I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you exactly what StoryBrand's framework looks like. Now, uh, let me go ahead and share that. Boom. All right. So, StoryBrand is it's actually really big. Hold on, let me share this again. That way it shows up correctly. There we go. So I'm actually trying to change the size of my screen so it's not crazy big. So I hope you guys can all see that well enough. Okay, so this is the StoryBrand framework. And so they have these listed on mystorybrand.com, which is a free website. And anybody can go sign up for it, no problem. And so this gives you the framework, and it also has little videos tied to each element that further explain what they are. And so we're going to go through this storyline really quickly so you can understand what we're looking at. The first one is here. It's a character has a problem and meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that ends in success, that helps them avoid failure. And then on top of that, you have a actual character transformation that takes place during the course of this. And so a character is going to be your target audience, your customer avatar. There's a lot of different terminology out there for this, but this is basically going to be the people that you are trying to market to. Who are you trying to market to these people? There's a lot of different factors that goes into that, and we'll cover these. We'll go into more detail in this all this stuff in a future video. But for now, that's what a character is. It's the people that you're trying to market to, whether it's you're trying to support a nonprofit, or you're trying to get somebody to buy your widget, or someone to pay for your service. It's all the same. And so that is the character. The character has a problem. Now, this is going to tap into 4 different types of areas. You have the villain, which is the actual root cause of the problem. What's the actual problem that you're trying to solve? The external, which is the problem that your customer deals with as it relates to your product or service. The internal is the emotional aspect of the problem. How does the villain make your customers feel? And then finally, the philosophical. And it says, why is it just plain wrong for your customers to be burdened by this problem? And that's a little more in depth. And so this entire thing here is basically understanding the facets of the problem. If you understand all of every aspect of the problem, then you're set up for success to be able to define the solution. The next one here is meets a guide. So in order to be a guide, you have to have 2 things. The first one is empathy, and the next one is authority. Empathy is how you show that you care about the character and that you understand their problem completely. Authority is how you prove that you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing. Because if you think of Star Wars, right? So if you're not Master Yoda, why is somebody going to listen to you, right? If you're not the coach on a football team, why would the players listen to you? It's that same type of concept, establishing your authority in the field or the solution that you're discussing. The next one here is who gives them a plan. So the plan has to consist of a series of steps or a to-do list, right? Here it says 3 or 4 steps that leads them into the sale. So, for example, if you have to, I don't know, let's say that you're running some sort of giveaway and you need to subscribe with your email address, you need to like and follow our page, and you need to share the page and tag us in the share, right? That's a series of steps that need to happen in order for you to get entered into this contest. So different things like that. It could be more complex than that, especially when you're talking about the transaction of money. But overall, you need a plan. You need to be able to lay out these steps very explicitly. The next one is agreement. And the agreement is basically, it's kind of like an unwritten contract that will remove their fears or alleviate their problem, right? Something, let's say a fidget spinner, right? Let's say the person has like ADHD and they can't stop moving, but a fidget spinner actually gives them something to do, which allows their mind to focus. That's the type of information you need to be able to put into this agreement area. By buying your product or service, what is going to happen? What's in it for me, so to speak? The next item here is calling them to action. So there's 2 types. There's a direct call to action and a transitional call to action. The direct call to action is very explicit. sign up, buy now, these types of call to actions. Uh, the transitional call to action is something that is more of a entry point, right? If it's not so direct, then it's more subtle, right? This happens a lot of times in places where you see um, someone offering a free ebook, right? And you have to put in your email address to get that ebook. That's the type of transitional call to action. Something that doesn't really cost anything, but or it doesn't cost much, but it's still going to put them into the pipeline. Alrighty. This next one here is that ends in success. So, what are the successful positive outcomes that happen when they go through your call to action? Do they save money? Do they make more money? Do they, um, you know, do they get the widget that saves them something? Whatever it is, whatever those success elements are that helps solve that problem and alleviates that burden, that's what's going to go here. The next one is that helps them avoid failure. And so if they fail to purchase or fail to sign up, what is that negative impact on them for not actually going through the process, right? Obviously, they're still going to have that problem, but it could be something more larger, much bigger than just, oh, you're still going to have a problem, right? There could be a lot of different things. So it's really going to depend on uh, what type of product you're selling or what type of service you're selling and how big of an impact that is. But that's what that section's for. And then this last one is the character transformation. And this is the emotional mindset that you're looking for, the actual mindset of how they perceive things, how they believe things, and where they're going to transfer from and to. And so that could be something like they were feeling, let's say that they were feeling negative about their appearance, and because they bought your product, now they feel better about themselves. So you would elaborate that type of thing here in the transformational aspect. And so these are the 7 elements for StoryBrand. StoryBrand is also commonly referred to as SB7. So these 7 plus the character transformation. So when you follow these 7 elements, you can't go wrong. If you do it and you do it right, you will never fail. It's almost that good. I've never anybody who's ever worked through this with me has never had a problem trying to market their stuff. They really haven't. And it's not because it's just a good framework. It's about what you can make of it, right? Uh, so StoryBrand is something that you can set up to be as a pyramid for your company, a pyramid, a branding pyramid, if you will, right? So at the top, you're going to have the overall company, and then let's say that you have, I don't know, let's say you have 3 divisions. You know, let's say it's, I don't know. I'm going to try to give you an example. Okay, I'll just go with my company. So I have Carbon Digital. So I have the overall entire company aspect of things, and then I have several services, all of which are interconnected. But there are 3, I guess 4 now, 4 primary aspects that I'm trying to push. The first one is your website. The second one is your organic traffic through SEO. And the third one is how you convert that traffic into a paying customer. And that is called CRO, conversion rate optimization. So those 3 plus this whole business foundational concept. So those 4 different areas are areas that I can put under the overall Carbon Digital brand and create a separate story brand for them, because those are different services and they might tap into different people, different audiences. They might hit a hyper specific villain or problem that they solve. And so that's the beauty of StoryBrand. You're not just going to have one, you're not just going to need one. Every product that you launch, every service that you have, every department, every division, every subsidiary, at every step, you could have a different story brand. It's kind of like, for those of us who are in have had experience being in the military, something similar to that is that you have DoD policy, and then you have your branch policy, and then you have your command policy, and so each one of them expands on whatever that policy was from the top, and each one not only expands but dives deeper into it. And it's the same kind of concept here. Each level that you go down, you're getting more specific into a specific area, right? So if I were to take Carbon Digital and go into the web avenue, then I have probably 3 or 4 different avenues under that where I could launch 3 or 4 different service types under the website umbrella within my company, right? So there's the website as a service, there's hosting and domains, there's managing sites for other people, managed services, and then there's the uh, building, custom build websites. I can even go in another direction and just say I'm going to provide low cost stuff and do everything through themes that are pre-made. So that can be 5 different avenues of marketing that I can use. And that's the beauty of this, is I can make this as simple or as complex as I want. And the more story brand scripts, which is what this entire, when you put all these pieces together, it's called a brand script. Um, the more of these that you have, the more of these that you can follow. And the more that you can follow, the more options you have for connecting and communicating with people. And that's really what it's all about, is being able to connect with them where they are, speaking the language that they understand. And so once we have this brand script ready, we can actually apply this to other areas of our company. And that might sound strange, but the reality is that um, I believe it was Forbes that did an interview of 10,000 plus millionaires, and number 5 on their list of most important things that factored into their success was consistency. And so all that we're doing here with StoryBrand is we're creating a framework to maintain consistency in our message to the customers. It might sound crazy, it might sound redundant, but it's not crazy, because it works, right? Dana Carvey, Masters of Disguise. It's just so crazy. It just might work. Yes, it really is. And the reason it works is because psychologically people want to hear a story. And so if you tell a story, you're captivating their attention. They're putting pause on whatever they're doing to be able to hear what you have to say. And when you communicate with them, you're capturing their attention. And that's the most important commodity in today's society, is attention. If you can get their attention and you can communicate effectively, you can sell the shit out of your stuff. Realistically, that's what this is. And so that's why we apply this same brand messaging to our social media posts. We apply it to our email marketing. We apply it to the copy on our website, the words and the text. We apply this to all the areas of our digital footprint so that way we can maintain consistent messaging. And when we do that, we win all day, every day. Well, that's everything that I have here for the StoryBrand overview. In our next video, we're going to talk about uh, step one, which is defining your audience so that we can figure out who our character is. All right, then. Take it easy, guys.